There's Shadow up there. Smokey ran around the corner a minute ago. Hello, everyone. Thought I'd have another fun video. It's cloudy out. Ergo, you hear the generator running. How you like that? That's the first of what I hope is many piles of wood chips. Got rain coming in. Everybody say hey to T. T says hi. She's gonna do the clean out on the gutters because we got rain coming in. All the leaves have been dropping, but that's the first of what I hope to be 4 or 5 loads. I tell you, the luck I've got sometimes, really good luck. Say hi, Midnight. He says I'm not sociable. I'm out of here. Couple quick things, show you what I've been working on, and then we're gonna commence with our story time. Finish up reading the most important documents of our history. So yeah, I headed up the road to go get something from the post office box, and saw the guys cleaning the power lines. I said, hey, can you come dump that over here? And they said, good. Last few days we've been working pretty hard. We got all that area tilled, got all this area tilled. I've used the tiller to run this water line. I've been meaning to do it and finally got around to it. Don't you know I'm a poet? What do you think, Shadow? She says, I'm up here overseeing everything. So we got the one black line, getting ready to go in there. We got to rebuild all this. And then I started in over here and then got distracted on some other things. But using that tiller does a real good job of laying in a trench for me to put the other black line in down to this cabin. And that's the garden hose. That's not the black line. It's in there. Trying to get it warmed up so that I can lay it flat. But we're going to go down here. I'll show you some of the stuff that we've done in the cabin. And then we'll, like I said, sit down and read part the rest of the founding documents. So for the temporary, look at that. I got a couple panels leaning up here. Still got to build a little bit of a deck out here. I'm going to need some kind of decking to mount the solar hot water panel and whatnot. But we have power in here. And let's go in here. I got a little home for you guys. Thought you might like this. I'm almost done with this. This was yesterday's project. Took us all day to build this, but this is the going to be the home for baby. I still got to build a gate and a little bit of a ramp right here. But we're getting there. So carpet's in, this is in, laid down. I've got to do some transition pieces around from the tile there, some little pieces of wood to screw down on, hold the edge down. Of course, all the trim work on all the windows and all 3 cabins. I don't know if I've said this before, but all the cabin, let's see. Get the lighting on it right there. You can see the top. So all the trim work around the windows, and like on this end wall here, I don't know if I'm going to do the beam with it, but I'm going to do that all in cedar. And I got some trees that I need to cut down, and way up here's a bunch of logs I got to cut up and trim it all out in cedar. So like right here, I'm going to trim that. So I've got a bunch of cedar logs we're going to do all our trim work with. So my cabin up here, this cabin, and the lower cabin, I think all of that's going to get trimmed out in cedar, but we got to mill it first. So that's going to be a fun project. So anyway, lots of work to do here, and this is pretty much good. She should be here tomorrow and get some stuff moved in, and then back in a few days to start maybe living here, and then we're going to work on the water systems counter and all that bit by bit as we go. So let's see here. Let me, I don't think I'm going to sit this so that you don't move, are looking at the phone. Lock that down. I think I'm just going to read this to you so that it's a little easier. Alright, so we did story time number 1, part 1. We got through Article 1 of the Constitution. And got a couple of other thoughts I want to share with you. You know, we've all been waiting for another big shoe to drop. I'm not sure what they're going to engineer that to be. But pay attention to what's going up in the north central states with Mr. KR. And because of what happened last year. Some of the twists and turns that they're doing are unconscionable, in my opinion. Anybody who's got any kind of common sense should know some of the stupid things that the prosecutors are trying to do to this young man, who I am 100% behind every bit of his actions. And if you saw the videos I did a few weeks ago that I took down, I will concur with another YouTuber who was also making the statements. Well, and that would be Mr. Rex, Tibosaurus Rex, who made the comments and opinions of, well, if we had our older generation doing what they were supposed to do, then a 17-year-old would not have felt maybe so driven to do it. And I totally agree. I totally agree. They are saying things that are, in my opinion, totally designed to throw you so off kilter emotionally, logically, and everything. I don't get it. And then our friend up there in Idaho, corner of Wyoming there, Mr. Potter, did a quick little thing about some events that are occurring that looks like there are some preparations for the next big shoe to fall. There's a lot of really interesting things going on, but you know, every day that goes by, it's amazing the conditions that we're in and how things that should have occurred haven't yet. So I get real leery about dates and predictions now because it has drug on so long. So always just stay on top of your game. So yeah, let's all send prayers to Mr. KR, the young gentleman, and from what is the headline on ZH right now, I'm in full agreement that those things happen, but we'll have to see, because, you know, I think chaos is something that the powers that want to be are trying very, very, very hard to create with every possible thing they can throw at this. So let's pick up. I know this is probably quite a bit of chitter chatter in the first place, but you know, I haven't done a lot of videos. I don't have a lot of time to do a whole lot of videos, so I'm kind of trying to wrap everything into one. So Article 2. Let me kick this off. It's nice enough in here. Article 2, immediate Section 1. We're still in the formation of the structure portion of this document, where everything's kind of being set up. I'll get my little readers out here. Section 1. The executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. He shall hold his office during the term of 4 years, and, together with the Vice President chosen for the same term, be elected as follows. Each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct, a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in the Congress. But no senator or representative or person holding any office of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed an elector. So yeah, basically that's saying no. What is it? Contrary. No. God, I can't think. Anyway, let's just move on. The electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for 2 persons, of whom one at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves, and they shall make a list of all the persons voted for, and the number of votes for each, which list they shall sign and certify and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open the certificates, and the votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes shall be the President, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if there be more than one who have such majority and have equal number of votes, then the House of Representatives shall immediately choose by ballot one of them for president. And if no person have a majority, then from the 5 highest on the list, the said House shall in like manner choose the president. But in choosing the president, the vote shall be taken by states, the representation from each state having 1 vote. A quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states, and a majority of all the states shall be necessary to a choice. In every case, after the choice of president, the person having the greatest number of votes of the electors shall be the vice president. But if there should remain 2 or more who have equal votes, the Senate shall choose from them by ballot the vice president. So that simply set up a whole bunch of contingencies for dealing with the vote if it were a tie. There never has been, never will be a tie, but they wanted it laid out. The Congress may determine the time of choosing the electors and the day on which they shall give their votes, which day shall be the same throughout the United States. No person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible to the office of the President. Neither shall any person be eligible to that office who shall not have attained to the age of 35 and been 14 years a resident within the United States. In case of the removal of the President from the President from office, or of his death, resignation, or inability to discharge the powers and duties of said office, the same shall devolve on the Vice President, and the Congress may, by law, provide the case for removal, death, resignation, inability, or both of President and Vice President, declaring what officer shall then act as President, and such officer shall act accordingly until the disability be removed, or the President shall be, or a President shall be elected. The President shall, at stated times, receive for his services a compensation, which shall neither be increased nor diminished during the period for which he shall have been elected, and he shall not receive within that period any other emolument from the United States or any of them. Before he entered on the execution of his office, he shall take the following oath or affirmation. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. We could have a whole video on that one. And that other section about being, born in this country. Birth certificates. Section 2. The President shall be Commander-in-Chief of the Army and the Navy of the United States and the militia of the several states. Got that? That's an important one. He is Commander-in-Chief of the Army and the Navy, and of course all the other branches now, and the militia of the several states. So he can command the state militias. When called into the actual service of the United States, he may require the opinion in writing of the principal officer in each of the executive departments upon any subject relating to the duties of their respective offices, and he shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for the offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. He shall have power, by and with the advice and consent of the Senate, to make treaties, provide 2/3 of the senators concur. 2/3 of the senators present concur, and he shall nominate and with the advice and consent of the Senate shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other officers of the United States, whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for, and which shall be established by law. But the Congress may, by law, vest the appointment of such inferior officers as they think proper in the President alone, in the courts of law, or in the heads of departments. The President shall have the power to fill up all vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their next session. I should have brought a drink with me. Section 3. He shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the state of the Union and recommend to the consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. He may on extraordinary occasions convene both houses or either of them in a case of disagreement between them with respect to time of adjournment. He may adjourn them to such time as he shall think proper. He shall receive ambassadors and other public ministers. He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed, and shall commission all the officers of the United States. Section 4. The President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from the office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. That was end of section Article 2. Now we're on to Article 3. Article 3, Section 1. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges, both of the Supreme and inferior courts, shall hold their offices during good behavior, and shall, at stated times, receive for their services a compensation which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. Section 2. The judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity arising under this Constitution. The laws of the United States and treaties made or which shall be made under their authority, to all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, to all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, to controversies to which the United States shall be party, to controversies between two or more states, between a state and citizens of another state, between citizens of different states, between citizens of the same state claiming lands under grants of different states, and between a state or citizens thereof and foreign states, citizens or subjects. In all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, and those in which a state shall be party, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction. In all the other cases before mentioned, the Supreme Court shall have appellate jurisdiction both as to law and fact, with such exceptions and under such regulation as the Congress shall make. The trial of all crimes, except in cases of impeachment, shall be by jury. Such trial shall be held in the state where they said crimes have been committed. But when not committed within any state, the trial shall be at such place or places that the Congress may by law have directed. Section 3. Treason against the United States shall consist in levying war against them, or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of two witnesses to the same overt act, or on confession in open court. The Congress shall have the power to declare the punishment of treason, but no attainder of the treason shall work corruption of blood, or forfeit exempt during the life of the person attainted. That's a complicated one in understanding. We're on to Article 4. Section 1. Full faith and credit shall be given to each state in the public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of every other state, and Congress may, by general laws, prescribe the manner in which such acts, records, and proceedings shall be proved and effect thereof. And the effect thereof. Section 2. The citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. This is why I went through and explained to you guys the status that we were essentially duped out of by being told we were U.S. citizens. We are not U.S. citizens if we were born in one of the states. We are a state citizen and a citizen of the states. Citizens in the several states. We're a citizen of the states, and by that an American national. That's way different than a United States corporate citizen. Okay. A person charged in any state with treason, felony, or other crime who shall flee from justice and be found in another state shall, on demand of the executive authority of the state from which he fled, be delivered up and to be removed to the state having jurisdiction of the crime. No person held to service or labor in one state under the laws thereof, escaping into another, shall, in consequence of any law or regulation therein, be discharged from such service or labor, but shall be delivered upon claim to the party whom such service or labor may be due. Section 3. The new states may be admitted by the Congress into this Union, but no new state shall be formed or erected within the jurisdiction of any other state, nor any state be formed by the junction of two or more states or parts of states without consent of the legislature of the states concerned, as well as of the Congress. In other words, everybody's got to be on board with this. So it's kind of one of the reasons why we really haven't seen secession yet, even though we've heard lots of talk about it, is because in order to do that, the ramifications are not only difficult to navigate, but well, that's a whole nother video. Section 4. The United States shall guarantee every state in the Union a republican form of government. Did you hear that? The United States shall guarantee to every state in this Union a republican form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion, and on application of the legislature or of the executive, when the legislature cannot be convened, against domestic violence. Which is an interesting concept if you work it towards some of the things that happened last summer and of that nature. Article 5. The Congress, whenever 2/3 of both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendments to this Constitution, or on the application of the legislatures of 2/3 of the several states, shall call a convention for proposing amendments, which in either case shall be valid to all intents and purposes as part of this Constitution when ratified by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states, or by conventions in 3/4 thereof, and the one or the other mode of ratification may be proposed by the Congress, provided that no amendment which may be made prior to the year 1808 shall in any manner affect the first, fourth clauses in the 9th section of the first article, and that no state without its consent shall be deprived of its equal suffrage in the Senate. Article 6. All debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be valid against the United States under this Constitution, as under the Confederation. This Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby, anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. There's stuff here that is so powerful. All judges are bound to the supreme law of the land. So, you know, we went back, you know, real quick to a couple years ago when we were learning. Well, they were using maritime law, you know. And I don't want to get. I shouldn't get started on that. Let's finish this one. The senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of the several state legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. Which means everyone who is serving as a judge has to take the oath to protect and defend the Constitution. Another tool I'm going to be using in the not too distant future. Article 7. The ratification of the conventions of 9 states shall be sufficient for the establishment of this Constitution between the states, so ratifying the same. Now we're going to get into, and these will go pretty quick, and it's some of what we consider the most important part of this document, and that's the first 10 amendments that were made to it. I'm gonna read each one. They're only a sentence or two. I'm going to read them a little slower so that you have time to listen and digest it a little bit. And I will reserve comment, and I want to read just through it because I'm probably getting pretty long in the video here. But these are the ones you need to know. You should know these. The First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Third Amendment. No soldier in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon the probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. I should reread that sentence. And no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause supported by an oath or affirmation by those who want the warrant, and particularly describing the place particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. There's a whole video we could do on that right there. Fifth Amendment. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb. Nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. And that gets into eminent domain and what we've seen with people's properties and their fight against highways and stuff like that. There's a whole lot of that we could have fun with. The Sixth Amendment. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall be or shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusations, to be confronted with the witnesses against them, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. There are a lot of those sections that are very, very powerful. Seventh Amendment. In suits of common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right of trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of common law. Eighth Amendment. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Check that one off. Ninth Amendment. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. The 10th Amendment. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the Constitution are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. That's very big. I could there's so much I would love to say about these things. Hopefully my reading of it was good enough for you to absorb. I'm not gonna. There's a ton more to read, but that's the primary part of it that is what each and every one of us pretty much should have memorized. No, I don't have it memorized. I know the concepts. I know the concepts pretty decently, and I've read the Constitution a few times. I read it a couple years ago, 3 or 4 times during that period that I dealt with then, and then I back in college and high school and that time I read it, but we go lax. We all go lax. And we're seeing the results of the lackadaisical approach that we have all taken to our own personal responsibilities. And I just read them. You know, our responsibilities are to maintain that. Because when we don't, then people lose it. And authoritarians become more authoritative. And psychopathics become more psychopathics. And on and on. And it's the nature of humanity. And somewhere in this world, humanity needs to grow up in a way. And with this big a tree that we're going to smack because we've been driving drunk on our inabilities to operate our brains, that's what's going to happen. We're all drunk on stupidity, and we're going to hit a big tree. There's a big tree coming, and we're going to hit it head on, and we're going foot to the floor. So I don't expect a whole lot of people to step out of the vehicle when it smacks, but that's why I said get out of the vehicle. Get out of the vehicle and start changing your world on a personal way, because then those of us who do make it through will have hopefully the ability to see past this in a way to make whatever alterations are necessary in how we love each other, treat each other, stand up for each other in this world. And we got a lot of work to do. All right, that is it for today. And how long? 42 minutes. That's not as bad as the other one was. Those two are only a few days away from a joyride they will quickly forget. It's really warm out. Bees are flying pretty good. And we got rain coming in tonight. Alright, folks. Oh, step out here without hurting myself. We got power, my friends! And a lot of stuff to do here. Still got to put the ceiling on, but it's livable. There's people in this world who live a whole lot less than this. And there are people who are going to live a whole lot less than what we have now. So, y'all be blessed. I hope you enjoyed. It gets you to thinking, and just me reading this again, it gets me thinking hard about where we are and how do we handle things and what do we do in this life. I still hope. I kind of hope we cleanse this place out a lot more than we do. I know it sounds crazy, but somehow we have to change enough so that we do not recreate a system in any measurable size that can go this way again. I've got some ideas on how we would do that. I've been thinking about it for a few years now. How do we do that? Human beings. All right. So I'll leave you with this. Human beings, most of them, because of the nature of their ineptness, don't feel confidence in themselves, and they feel they must create some kind of control mechanism. Now, think through what I'm saying here. How do you accomplish what it was our founding fathers actually were trying to do. They were trying to set up this system in such a manner that the people were in control and power and protected. It didn't work. And that's the problem. Get some light on there. It didn't work. It's one heck of a playpen for a dog, ain't it? It didn't work. And that's the problem. It was usurped. So my question is, how do you create something that serves the people that is not possible to be corrupted? My only idea that I've kind of come up with that would kind of accomplish that would be to reduce the size of the government. You know, so yeah, you had three. Okay, so you had the Article 1, Article 2, and Article 3 that created the different branches of government, and they've got the checks and balances written in there, but there's still too much. To me, that I think, you know, as an anarchist, I would like to have no government, but I don't know if humans can not be that stupid to be able to live in a world where no government exists at all. The only way I could see that happening is if you had some of the best education of all the people that was passed down in every generation as to the logic and reasoning behind self-governance when it comes to the aspects of freedom. So you know, my thoughts are this: well, there's hardly a majority. There's hardly any real measurable percentage of our human population that is true anarchists and that would actually choose to live in peace with their neighbors. There's not a big enough percentage. And no matter how far we come down, unless we come down, and those are the only people left on the planet in this big bubble pop that's going to happen, or that is happening, you're going to have somebody who wants to go, no, we need to do this, we need to form this, we need to create this. You know? So the only way I could see this working, where we would actually have something, is to reduce the powers by 90-something% of what is enumerated in that document that we just read, to as small as possible, to limit what happens within the government to common defense only, you know, and to set up the most amount of smallest units that you can, maybe down to local towns, just your local town, of the highest level of any legislation, law creating, that kind of thing situation. Because what that would do is it would diminish the effect of bad decisions. So if you had one town that started making all these crazy laws and ordinances and socio-psychopathic kind of control mechanisms that they do this, what would, eventually happen is, people go, you know what, this is a little crazy. I'm going to move over to the next town, and that town would die. But we've had the reverse happening to everything everywhere, and therefore there's one of the big discussions many of us that I've had with you and some of my close people that I'm in community with is, where do you go? Where do you go? There were some people going, oh, let's go to New Zealand. Really? Them people are just as wacko over there. There's not a country in the world that isn't dealing with the tyrannical nature that we're dealing with, except for maybe Antarctica, and we don't know what's going on down there. But we have got to get to a place where this kind of beast can never get that big, and that if it ever tries to overreach itself, eventually it will kill itself without damaging the whole. So the cancer can never get that big. But the common knowledge of us working together to protect each other so that we can be free is so much of the focus in whatever little government there is. Keep the bullies out. You tell me what your thoughts are, folks. I know I ran on quite a long time with my extra commentary, and there's a lot of that. Boy, I'd love to chew the shit out of that stuff, but until we all know it, we can't all really have a good discussion about it, and that's why we're in the condition that we are. So y'all be good. I will continue, for those of you who've made it this far in the video, I will leave up the Solar 101 videos. I can't get them to the top of the feed. I know a few of you have asked where they're at. You have to go to my main page where the video tab is, click on that, and then scroll all the way down to last year's videos. It was up in last year's videos, so you'll have to scroll down there and get those videos that way, and download them. I won't take them down yet. I'll leave them up for you. Still going to be extraordinarily busy for me and T out here. I got so much to do, and a lot of things that are on our plate, and I expect it might be a bit before I can go back to doing regular videos. I miss it. I miss doing a lot of videos and communicating with so many of you. But this is the thing, okay? This is how people got sneaky and went into these little groups and cities and formed all this stupid powers, because somebody who was truly responsible for taking care of this stuff, their time's eaten up out here. The amount of time it takes me to take care of things, where do you have the time to pay attention to all the other stupidity that's going on in the world? You're here, and this is my Eden. Okay, this is my Eden. And for those of you who've gotten this far, you understand that when you're in the cities working a job and dealing with a boss and paying the bills and in that rat race of slavery, there's nothing but problems. Here, there's only solutions. Oh, that's broken. Well, let's go fix it. Okay, that happened. Well, let's go take care of it. We have to have solutions for everything out here. And on that note, I've run long enough. Love you guys. Thank you so much for sticking through. Give me a thumbs up if you think it's worth my effort to do this for you. And let's see if I can do this from the back.